Alechem, everybody. Hope all is well. Today we're going to be speaking about the connection between King Solomon and the Mashiach, and how really there's such an intrinsic connection between the two great leaders and the two tremendous Jewish figures. And as we've learned already, there's a Mashiach of every generation. Every generation has David HaMelech, a King David of the generation, a Mashiach of the generation, because the Mashiach will be the King David of the generation. And that's why he's called Mashiach ben David, Messiah, the son of David. And so it makes sense to say that Shlomo is the Mashiach ben David of his generation. Why? Because he's literally the son of King David. And he is the King David of his generation because he was the king chosen to be King David's successor. And he wasn't the oldest son of David HaMelech. Worth noting. Usually the kingdom goes to the oldest son, but Shlomo was not the oldest son. He wasn't even the oldest from his mother, and yet he was the one chosen to be the successor of King David. So we see there's a lot of tremendous examples of similarities between King Solomon and what the future of the Mashiach will do, what the person the Mashiach will be like. By the way, the Mashiach will be a descendant of King Solomon. The verses, King David prophesies about this. He says, Shlomo will be his name will be peace. And that's explained that the Mashiach will come from David, that's known, through Solomon, and Shlomo, and to really give us to understand how intrinsically connected the Mashiach and King and Melech Shlomo are, is just look at everything that King Shlomo accomplished in his lifetime, and then that resembles everything that we expect Mashiach to do in certain ways. So King Solomon's famous for bringing peace to the world, hence his name Shlomo, which is connected to the word Shalom. The whole idea of the days of Mashiach, the messianic eras, there will be peace in the world. The world will live in harmony. Shlomo brought peace to the world in his days. The Mashiach will build the third temple, will build the temple. Shlomo built the first temple. And the temple, by the way, is not just a beautiful building, which it is. It's a building where Hashem's presence dwells, where Hashem reveals from the temple, he radiates his presence, his light radiates throughout the entire world, meaning Hashem's presence is most strongly felt in the temple, but the entire world is affected and feels and perceives Hashem's presence through the temple. So we know that Shlomo building that building has, to say the least, such a intrinsic, a crucial part of the reality the world experiences. Shlomo changed the whole reality of the world by building the temple. So too, that's what Mashiach will do. He'll build the third temple. Also, the Mashiach will be a teacher. The Mashiach will teach. He'll teach even the tzaddikim to reach higher levels. And we know that Shlomo was such a great teacher. King Shlomo could think of King Solomon. Shlomo is Solomon in Hebrew. He could think of so many different examples for one deep Torah idea. It says he could give 3,000 different examples to teach different people the different analogy they need to understand the idea. So that's the whole idea of Mashiach. He'll be able to teach everyone according to their level, to bring out their neshama, to bring out the best of them. Shlomo did that in his generation. And now I think that we should give a little background on Shlomo Melech to help us understand a little bit more about who we're dealing with, and we'll tie back into Mashiach. And Shlomo Melech, he wasn't even the oldest from King David, yet he was chosen to be the king. Shlomo became king at 12 years old. He took over his father David's throne at 12 years old. By both King David and the prophet Nathan both recognized that the chosen successor of King David will be Solomon. And there was some brothers who had disagreements with that and wanted the throne for themselves. And ultimately, you know, that there's many details about how these stories go, but multiple brothers came for Shlomo's throne, and they both failed. Well, actually, one of the brothers came for King David's throne, the other brother came for Solomon's throne, but they did not succeed, Baruch Hashem, and the kingdom was passed over to King Solomon. And so this is what we really, I think, is the focus of this whole idea. Is Shlomo, when he was 12 years old and he became king, Hashem came to him in a dream and said, Shlomo, ask me of whatever you want and I will grant it to you. Hashem came to Solomon in a dream, in a vision, when he was 12 years old and he just took over the throne. Listen to this. And he said to Shlomo, ask me for whatever you want and I will grant you it, Shlomo. And what does Shlomo ask for? Shlomo asks Hashem, he says, Hashem, please give me the wisdom to be able to tell the difference between good and evil. And Hashem was very, very, very excited about this request that Shlomo had, to say the least. Hashem was very, very happy with what Shlomo requested. And Hashem replies to Shlomo saying, Shlomo, since you asked me for something so holy, something so pure, something so good, like wisdom to tell the difference between good and evil, and to be a good king, since you asked me for something like this, and you didn't ask me for wealth, and many wives, and many children, and success, and a massive kingdom, and an honor. Since you didn't ask me for these things, but you asked me for something like wisdom, I'm going to grant you the wisdom that you asked me for, and not only that, I'm going to grant you all the things that you were too humble to also ask me for, like wealth, success, many children, honor, and Shlomo was granted. Not only was he granted his request to have wisdom, but he was granted incredible amounts of wealth, to say the least. No, we can't even comprehend the wealth that Shlomo had, and the honor and the success, and the nations flocked to him. All people, wise people around the world, wanted to learn about Hashem, learn about Torah, connect to Shlomo. They realized the tzaddik of the generation. They wanted to cling to the tzaddik of the generation, and it was really a glimpse of the days of Mashiach. There was peace throughout the entire world. People wanted to follow Hashem. The Shekhinah was radiating throughout the entire world. There was, prophets, prophecy. So it was a Mashiach-like era. It was a glimpse into the days of Mashiach. It was this planting of the seed of this reality into the world. But of course, the days of Mashiach will be at an even higher level. And Shlomo became the wisest man of all time. And he was able to even speak to animals, and all the negative forces. Shlomo had to nullify like he had control over the negative forces. He was able to nullify the negative forces in the world, and he was wise, and the nations all wanted to be involved with Israel. They all they feared Israel, and that's really a glimpse of the days of Mashiach. But now to tie it back to Mashiach, we're living in the days where B'ezrat Hashem, the days of Mashiach are being revealed to us. And the Mashiach is going to come, and he's going to bring the whole world to tshuva, and he's going to judge everyone in a positive, in a nice, a favorable way. He's going to see the good in the Jewish people, and he's going to be able to be a teacher like King Solomon. He's going to be able to teach all the people at each according to their own needs, and he'll be able to teach one person the way they need to be taught, and another person the way they need to be taught, and they're all going to come to that desire to connect to Hashem, because the Mashiach is the head of the people, and he will give care to the body, because as the Derech Mitzvah Secha says, the head feels the pain of the entire body. The head, if you hurt even the smallest part of your finger, if it hurts, the head is going to feel the pain of the finger more than the finger feels it. That's why the tzaddik of the generation, the Mashiach, will be able to come and give and tend to all the people's needs, with obviously with the help of Hashem, the Creator, who's the head of the head, who's the king's king, the king of the kings, the king of the king of the kings. So why the Mashiach is completely given over to Hashem? The Mashiach is completely subservient to Hashem. Therefore, he's a good leader. He's good. He's fit to be a leader. And in the days of Mashiach will be a far greater revelation than the days of King Solomon. But in the days of King Solomon, the temple was here, the Shekhinah was here, everyone felt Hashem's presence. There was prophecy. We had a tzaddik like King Solomon, who was the wisest man, who could teach everyone, who could allow everyone to tap into their own neshama, because they had a teacher like Solomon. But we're saying in the days of Mashiach will be even greater? Yes, because it will develop even more than that. The resurrection of the dead will happen in the days of Mashiach. So our days of Mashiach, the third temple will be forever. It won't get destroyed. The previous temples were able to be taken down. But this temple, the third temple that may be built today, will never be taken down. It will be forever and ever. And therefore, this era will also lead up to the resurrection of the dead. And there's a light that Ein Lo Ra'ah, it says that I've spoken about in previous videos, this level of Eden, not the Garden of Eden, but Eden itself, the experience that Hashem experienced, so to speak, he's going to let us experience what he experiences, so to speak. There's a level that Moshe Rabbeinu only saw the edge of that level. Obviously, we're speaking about spiritual terms, but there's a level of there's a level of divine revelation, of godly revelation, that even Moses wasn't able to handle, and so Solomon also didn't reach that level yet. And all the tzaddikim didn't reach that level yet. And yet, in the days of Mashiach, that level will be revealed to us, and there will be the resurrection of the dead. And there'll be a to say the least, the most pleasurable experience imaginable, the most spiritual experience, pleasurable, comforting experience for our not only just our souls but our bodies as well. We'll be in complete unity with Hashem. We'll experience Hashem revealed in the world, and so Moses didn't see the level, and King Solomon didn't see that level either. So the Mashiach will be like the full revelation of what the period of Solomon's reign gave us a glimpse of. The days of Mashiach will be that at its fullest. So may it be today. Hope this video was interesting to you guys. I know it might have been back and forth between the different stages of the temples and the different stages of the areas, but I think that it's supposed to be a bit above us, because that's really what gets us excited and gets us into the zone to greet Mashiach, to get excited for Hashem's revelation into the entire world And this is all with the help of Hashem. We recognize that Hashem is being merciful with us, and He put us in this world without asking us permission. He put us here, and He expects something from us. But why? Only because He wants to be able to give us the most pleasurable experience imaginable, which is being able to fulfill His will through Torah and mitzvahs. Hope this was enjoyable for you guys. May Hashem bless you. Please share with others. God bless you all.